Hello everybody and welcome to this week's session of Stormlord's Wrath, where my wife Emily and I play through a one-on-one version of the continuation adventure to the D&D Essentials kit Dragon of Ice by a Peak adventure. We are currently way through one of the quests available as part of that adventure. Last week got a little bit hairy. But I think we're running a bit late today, so we're just going to kind of jump straight into it. Have you got your dice ready? Because I've got mine out. They're just not like out.
Yeah,
I realize that I'm asking you a daft question because you have dice at the ready even if we're not playing.
Well, I'm surprised because you watched me take them out.
Look,
before.
Right, it's very warm. My brain no work.
I'm gonna put aside some dice so that they're on the ready.
They're on the ready, right? In case you've got to sling out some guiding bolts.
Yeah, I'm just grabbing a bunch of D8s.
That's very, very hot. Okay, so after agreeing to assist Sergeant Yoram and his men with the suspected halting construction of the House of Thalivar, which is the big tower that you would see if I had the right scene up. There we go, the big tower in the center there. A ghostly encounter challenged even Dourrebelle's nerves of steel. Originally enraged by and resistant to this disruption to his work, the mage leading the reconstruction, Gallio agreed to assist however he could once faced with evidence that the one responsible for the haunting is the ghost of Thalivar himself. Dead for over a century, he believes himself to be trapped in a waking nightmare, and when challenged, uses his knowledge of planar magic to pull horrific creatures into the world from the astral sea. Regardless of whether the tower is restored or not, if Leylon is ever going to be completely safe, Thalivar needs to be dealt with. We begin the morning after your first expedition into the tower, and Gallio had agreed yesterday to meet you there.
After having an actual night's sleep.
Yes.
Cool. I guess we'll just straight there, be there waiting for him.
Okay. So you guys head straight over to the tower. And you'll notice that there are a couple of guards posted there. Yoram is surprisingly or unsurprisingly absent. The two guards are kind of shuffling around nervously, but as soon as they get eyes on you and Quinn, they you see their shoulders like relax a little bit.
They're like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
I'm okay. Yeah. I'll just, when I walk up, I'll just give a little, like a short wave and just be like, anything happened in the time you've been posted? Anything?
They look at each other and then back at you and just kind of awkwardly shake their heads and go, no, ma'am. Nothing. It's been silent.
I suppose it's a good thing. I think I would have been a little bit more concerned if something had happened. Has Gallio been about yet?
No, we've not seen him. And then the guy standing next to him goes, there he is. And then just as he kind of points over his shoulder, you do see the kind of black and gold robed Gallio Elibro, kind of with his ink stained fingers and his like messy hair, kind of slowly make his way up to the tower. You can see that he's still, even after spending a night away from the tower, he still looks exhausted.
Well, I figured that he's probably going to need more than one night's rest to recuperate.
Yeah.
From that.
So he approaches the pair of you, and he says, "Right, well, good morning. Yes, good morning."
Morning. I assume you had a night's rest.
It was not perfect. I'm not entirely accustomed to sleeping on the ground. I mean, it's not really...
Wait, on the ground?
Yes, well, unfortunately, I realize that you have a home, a completed home in the town, but as you can plainly see, and he kind of gestures around, not all the buildings are complete. Those of us without homesteads, this one being mine, we have to spend our nights at the camp. And you would remember the encampment when the first day that you came in. Maybe saying the ground is a little bit of an exaggeration, but it's not exactly the level of comfort that I'm used to.
Right. Well, I'm sorry that you were put out, but at least you seem in better spirits than yesterday.
Well, knowing what I know now, I am. Yes, it was better than what I've been dealing with. The creature that resides within this tower, posing itself to be Thalivar, is taking control of my body every night and using it to whatever ends he sees fit. Then I would rather my body remain my own.
Yeah. I was thinking, you mentioned the books on the second floor, correct? As being very valuable.
The library, yes. The library is the reliquary of all of Thalivar's research while he was here and working on the planar beacon. Annoyingly, it's written in a
cipher.
A dastardly brilliant cipher, which is taking me a very, very long time to decode. That is absolutely why I must ensure that everything remains as intact as possible.
Because the reason I ask is because I was thinking that it might be worth exploring the idea of potentially at least trying to pull the books out of there. The spirit didn't seem too quickly agitated until I was trying to get into a space on the third floor, which seemed to agitate it. I mean, it potentially might be on its guard, knowing that we're about. But I was thinking maybe the first plan of action is to attempt to move the books off the second floor.
For what purpose? What do you intend to do with the tower?
I don't intend to do anything with the tower. I'm foreseeing the fact that if a fight inevitably breaks out, there's going to be magic flying around, and I figured if those books are as valuable as you say, then I figured it would be best to move them before such a battle happens.
Well, my only concern with that is it would take an awfully long time. And in the time that it would take us to remove the books, then we could potentially just remove the barricade between the master bedroom and the third floor corridor and get in that way. At which time, we don't know what this creature's habits are. We could be attacked at any point.
It's a very good point.
While I don't wish for anything to be destroyed, at the same time, I feel like we would be wasting time. We don't know how this creature operates, and from the reports of the guards, I spoke very briefly with Sergeant Yoram yesterday. They only encountered this ghost when they tried to excavate the third floor. Well, excavate is the wrong word, but you know what I mean. Clear out the third floor of rubble and detritus. So clearly that's where it calls its home, and it only seems to be active either when it has need of me, or it feels threatened in some way. suppose what I mean to ask is, what is your plan for dealing with this creature?
Well, thinking back, Cam, there wasn't a lot of space on the 3rd floor to stand and move around, was there?
So there was like a corridor.
But it wasn't a lot of space, was it?
Let me get the map open. So from what you can recall, the space that you had up there was maybe like a 10-foot by 20-foot area. You could reach the scaffold on the outside, which is kind of a larger area, but maybe slightly more dangerous. And yeah, the corridor leading into the master bedroom, or what you believe to be the master bedroom, is blocked off by rubble.
So there is space to stand up there, but yeah. Did the floor seem super secure? At least when we were up there.
So it creaks underfoot. It's not
something like if I end up like falling on my ass or something, I'm not just gonna go crashing through.
Not necessarily, no. It really. Make an intelligence check for me.
Because the floor was wood, wasn't it?
Make an intelligence check for me.
5.
Yeah, you're unsure. Like, yes, the floor is wood, but you're unsure how sturdy they are. You can't quite remember. With the with everything else that was going on.
Yeah. So I can go up to the 3rd floor, and I could try and keep the fight up there as much as possible, and I'll try to make sure.
And you're dead set on destroying this creature, then? Do you have any idea what it wants?
I can try and speak with it again, but when I tried to do it before, it didn't seem to. It had moments where it listened, but it basically shook me off and called me a horrid specter and considered me a monster. He didn't recognize me as a human or as a dwarf.
Well, before this became my place of residence, it was his. If there was any evidence to be found as to why he is this way, it would exist in this tower, would it not? Perhaps I shouldn't. Gallio's kind of like trying to figure out how to say this without pissing you off. And he just kind of says, like, maybe going in, swinging your hammer around. Maybe there's another answer.
Well, I will go in and I will do my best to see if I can find, because if this creature is like a like other spectral creatures I have encountered before, there is usually a fixation point that they have which keeps them bound, which is probably in the master bedroom, would be my guess. I'm gonna go. I don't want to willy-nilly just blast him, especially as this is his home and he might be here for the wrong reasons, but
make a religion check for me.
I don't want to go in weaponless. 2.
Oh my god. Okay, yeah, that's fine. That Gallio just kind of like thinks for a moment. It's like, very well. I just if this creature is indeed the spirit of Thalivar, I would be reticent to consign him to oblivion for all the work that he did.
I will see if I can get through to him. I don't I do not have to fight him today. I can go in to try and negotiate, and if things go sour, we can pull out again in a hurry and reconvene on the matter, if you would prefer that.
My concern is, as long as this spectre remains in the tower, I cannot continue my work, which is ironic considering this creature created this tower and everything in it that I wish to know. It's frustrating that there isn't some way for me to be able to speak with him and work this out, you know?
Bar coming in to speak directly to him.
Well, this brings me to my other concern, which is, what's to say that if I go in there with you, it's not just going to take me again?
Exactly.
I would, as much as I don't want you to destroy the ghost of Thalivar, I am much more against the idea of you destroying me. Go on.
I would sooner try and push the spectre out of you than kill you.
I appreciate the sentiment, but we don't know what this creature is capable of. You might not be left with a choice. So, to that end, do you want me to come with you? My skills could be useful. I am a wizard, after all. Or would you prefer that I stay out here? If push comes to shove, and if you're confident that you can keep the spectre out of me, then having me around may be useful to you if you are dead set on the potential idea of destroying this creature, or if things come to that point, at least. And just for, because you would know this, turn undead does work on possessed creatures. If you turn
because I was just looking at
if you turn undead a creature that's been possessed by a ghost, it forces the ghost out.
Okay. I do have some magic that I can set up as a barrier, sort of as an extra security net. Sorry, I'm looking at Guardian of Faith at the moment.
You should know that spell off by heart by now. Oh wait, no, Guardian of Faith. I thought you meant Spiritual Guardians.
No, I'm just wondering if. So the Guardian is there,
mm-hmm.
and it's a creature hostile to you that moves to a space within the 10 feet of the Guardian.
Yes.
Could a creature be within 10 feet of it and then become hostile? Does that make sense? Like in the scenario that Gallio and us are there, and the Guardian is like next to us or like right behind us, and then perhaps Thalivar has moved in to communicate, but then he comes in to range to attack. He's already in the range, but he's not hostile. But then he becomes hostile. Would he then start potentially taking the damage, or?
What's the wording of the spell?
Any creature that hostile to you that moves to a space within 10 feet of the Guardian for the first time on a turn must succeed on a dexterity saving throw.
So, that to me... And then the wording of your question is, if it's in the 10 feet and then becomes hostile.
Yeah, if it becomes hostile after already... Because if it's not hostile when it enters the space, it doesn't take damage. But
no.
If it then becomes hostile, does it start taking damage?
Rules is written, no. Because the wording of the spell is if it moves into the area.
Right.
But if it's already in the area and then becomes hostile, then no. However, I would probably rule it as you can decide. So, like, if the creature becomes hostile in the area the first time, you can essentially choose whether or not it attacks.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean, it's a 4th level spell and it's really powerful, but I guess just the fact that you can't set it up I suppose with rules as written, it's weird that you can't set it up as a protecting and then like activate it once. I suppose the idea is that like
it's to guard a position. So like if you're being attacked by creatures and you like barricade a door or something, you can shove it in the doorway, and then it blasts anything that comes near you. Like it's more of like a zone control spell than a protect you spell. It's like guard this area, not guard me. If that makes sense.
So I could set it up and then maybe you said it was okay. I have an idea. I have plans. Gallio, if you feel comfortable coming with, I would appreciate. You're probably a lot better at you'd probably be a lot better at communicating with him as you were both wizards. But I will do everything in my power to protect you. But if that means just like destroying the specter, then
before we make any attempt to communicate with this creature, I think we need to understand it more. We have to find something within this tower that gives us something to work with. At the moment, we're just talking at a brick wall. If we have some line that we can use to communicate with him, then perhaps that will open something up and we can come to some sort of amiable resolution. Yes, I will join you. I think we don't want another scenario like before. If Thalivar is capable of summoning more creatures like the one that the one that you dispatched yesterday, then I think you need all the abilities that you can.
Cam, when I was in that weird magic shop place, there was a picture that was hanging.
Yes.
And I remember seeing somebody from that picture who was hanging around the tower, right?
Yep.
Do I recall if I saw Thalivar in the picture as well?
No. There were so the photo was of two figures. There was a dark-skinned lady, like warrior lady, and there was a red-bearded dwarf. And then there was enough space for a third figure, but the third figure was obscured.
So I don't know. So I don't know if that could have been Thalivar standing there.
No, you have no idea.
I'm actually curious about something. You're free to stay here or accompany me, but there's a shop that opened recently that has something I would like to go take a look at. I think that potentially might be related, but I would just want to chase it up just to be sure.
I will stay here.
Okay.
I will continue to keep watch of the place.
Dourrebelle just nods and is like, "Okay, Quinn, let's go to that weird shop." That name I forgot because I'm bad at names.
It's Aubrey. I think it's Aubrey. Is it Aubrey's Peculiarity Shop?
Yeah. So we're gonna go to Aubrey's.
Okay. So you wander in. Not the space is very much the same. So it's kind of like this small area that's been like crammed full of just like random junk and bits and bobs. And then there's that that kind of sketch above the counter with those figures on it that I described to you before. Aubrey with his big robes, slightly too big for him, kind of like springs up when he sees you. It's like, "Oh, hello again. You're back soon. I haven't had a chance to get another shipment yet."
It's all right. I actually came in. I was curious about something that I saw in here yesterday.
He like raises his like thumb and his finger up to his chin. He's like, "Oh,
yeah, that portrait you have there of the three figures."
He points up to like this one.
Yeah, where did you come across this?
Oh, it was just lying around. I found it in the building when I moved in. But I do believe, based on my research and my understanding of the history of Leylon, that this sketch is of the quite suitably named Swords of Leylon, a party of adventurers that once fought hard to protect the town in its darkest hours.
So how old is this portrait then?
Heavens if I know. Easily 100 years old.
Right. Did it have by any chance the names of the swords on it?
No. No, it was just these two, and then somebody else. But I thought that the likenesses of this soldierly woman and the dwarf were far too well done to just leave lying around. So I thought I'd put it up. Maybe just despite the blemish on the right hand side. It is a shame. I'd be curious to know who lurks behind that stain. I have no doubt that they were an adventurer of great prowess.
I'm assuming that if I look at it, even if I were to look closer, I probably wouldn't be able to make any details out from the stain.
None whatsoever.
There was someone there.
No, yeah. Okay. There's like a very, very kind of like obscured silhouette. There's definitely a third figure there. You just can't make out any details.
Right. Okay. And there, you say it's at least a century old.
By my guess, yes.
Right. Well, that was what I wanted to explore. I'm sure I'll be back again, especially when you get more shipments in. Thank you for that little bit. I feel like I've gained something from that just now.
Well, if it's been helpful, then please, if you want any more little bits, be they knowledge and like gestures to the rest of the shop, then you're always more than welcome.
So the Swords of Leylon were an adventuring group, but they stayed here to protect it, right?
Yes.
What you said?
They found their home in the area, and they stayed local and fought to protect it. Some adventurers do, such as yourself.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Yes, well, if anything else comes up, then I know where to find you. I thank
I'll be here.
Time. Okay, so I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna leave the shop and kind of. Do you think, Quinn? Do you think that wizard's tower, do you think there's anything in there about these Swords of Leylon, potentially?
Quinn's been a bit off all morning. You can kind of see, like, he's still. You healed him fairly well, and we'll assume that between now and then, you took him over to the Shrine of Lathander to have what's his name, Marigold, look over him as well.
Yeah.
So he's been like bandaged up, because even with magical healing, he was messed up last fight.
Yeah.
And yeah, you get the impression that he's not entirely paying attention. Like, he's just not quite there, and he's just like, what did you say?
Quinn, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. What are you talking about? Swords? What?
The Swords of Leylon, the portrait that was hanging above Aubrey's desk.
Yeah, why does it matter? I thought we were killing a ghost.
Well, we're seeing if there's a way that we don't necessarily have to kill the ghost, but I feel like it is no coincidence that I saw what appeared to be a specter of one of these swords before we initially entered the tower.
What? Like what?
I'm not entirely sure. I was wondering if maybe perhaps this Thalivar was maybe a friend of theirs. Maybe he had once traveled with them. I don't know. Gallio, we were trying to think of a way to reason with the ghost. So I was just trying to see if that had any connection to it. To what end, I have no idea. It could be completely unrelated. Maybe, maybe the Swords of Leylon have nothing to do with Thalivar.
Yeah, I mean, how are you going to find out? Short of going up to him and being like, "Oi, before you summon your mate to rip us to shreds, do you know any other ghosts?"
Well, I mean, that is one way to do it. Surely be the way you would do it, right?
Yeah.
Are you gonna be okay?
Yeah, let's just get this over with. The sooner...
I want to insight check him.
Go on.
No. I think he's fine. I rolled a 2.
What is going on with your rolls?
+5 is a 7. It's a
7.
So.
Well, that rolled better than him. He's been affected by what happened in the tower yesterday. No shit, right?
Yeah.
So I think what we'll just say is, like, with that insight check, you basically poke him a little more, and he says, "Look, I just don't want to look at this tower ever again. Let's just get this over with."
All right.
I don't care if we reason with this ghost or we have to destroy it. I just want this over and done with.
Okay. We can make that happen. We're gonna head back to Gallio, and I'm gonna ask him if he knows if the Swords of Leylon sounds anywhere familiar to him.
Gallio.
Yeah.
He kind of furrows his brow and thinks for a minute and goes, yes, the Swords of Leylon, they were a group of adventurers not dissimilar to yourself that were active around the time that that Thalivar was alive. Why do you ask?
Well, you were speaking about finding ways to reason with Thalivar, so I recalled yesterday that Thalivar wasn't... I don't know if it was a ghost I saw, but I saw a figure on my way up to the tower who looked like one of these Swords of Leylon, and I was wondering if Thalivar may have had a connection to them.
Gallio just kind of like smirks and shakes his head. He's like, "I very much doubt that a wizard of the caliber of Thalivar had any dealings with run-of-the-mill adventurers."
Dourrebelle looks at him like she's a little bit offended that he would make that kind of remark.
He's oblivious.
Because of the situation that they're in.
No, I know. Yeah, he's completely unaware of the irony.
Well, I'm not sure. You are apparently aware of Thalivar's history more than either of us. I'm not sure where I could even begin to look for anything outside of the tower. I mean, we would have to go in to the second. I mean, we'd have to go in to look for any information, but we also run the risk of being attacked. So we could go in to look for this, but we'll have to prepare for the fact that he might turn up.
Yes.
And then we might start trading blows. That's all I'm saying.
Yes, I'm well aware of this.
Well, if you are fine with that, then you might as well just go then.
Did you lose your memory after? What did the person in that shop do to you? This is the exact conversation that we had earlier. Have you been involved in some sort of time issue? Did you fall into a portal?
What? No. How would I even know?
I don't know. You're just acting very strangely.
I guess I'm just trying to do things that are different than what I'm normally done, so it's a bit awkward.
As I understand, we are going to enter the tower. We are going to search for information that may help us in our negotiations with Thalivar, but I am well aware of the potential that those negotiations may fail. He doesn't appear to have all of his mental assets under his command, which is understandable. He's been dead for over 100 years. I am very well aware of the risks. I am a powerful individual, both in terms of status and abilities. I know how to handle myself. I just need a bit of assistance because apparently this ghost has decided that it's taking a liking to my body. I'm assuming it's because of our similar areas of study. I am not a stranger to risk. I'm a wizard.
I didn't... Dourrebelle just takes like a big long sigh, maybe kind of rubs her head a little bit, and is like, right, let's go in there and just... You
hear Quinn like mumbling under his breath as you go into the tower, like, I can't believe we found someone who enjoys talking more than me. I hate it. So yeah, the three of you enter the tower, and you return kind of into the main hall. So it's the entry hall with kind of the table. The corpse of the creature that you fought before is gone.
Right. As in, like, is it just like it's like? Is there any sign that it's moved, or
it's just gone?
Right. Okay.
The gore is still there, like on the stairway.
Yeah.
It's still a complete mess. It seems like any evidence of this creature's body has vanished. Right. You have no idea whether that's because it's been moved or that's just a feature of it. No idea. There are so there's the table, which is kind of off at a jaunty angle. There are 8 packs that were there before, kind of like stacked up on the table. Bags, yeah. Right, where would you like to go? Where should we investigate first?
I'm assuming there wasn't anything on the ground floor besides the room that he was already working in.
You didn't really explore. You kind of made a beeline for the 3rd floor.
That's true.
So there is so Gallio's room is to the north, like his study. Behind the table, there is a corridor that leads to other rooms. One on the north, one on the south.
We'll comb it floor by floor. So
okay. So I'll describe them to you kind of as you go through.
Okay.
So you find a kitchen. It remains unused. It's covered in a layer of dust and kind of light rubble that's kind of collected over the top, probably from the accident that happened here many years ago. And yeah, there's like a hearth that kind of attaches to a chimney.
Yeah, sorry.
It's okay. To the south, you enter a servant's quarters. Where are we? Or at least it looks like a servant's quarters. There is kind of half a bed that looks like it's been like bent and snapped. Underneath a pile of rubble, but it's not it's nowhere near, like the ceiling's caved in and kind of covered this area. it's nowhere near as massive a pile of rubble as the one blocking the way to the bedroom. Like, make a perception check for me.
I'm half tempted to pick another D20. If this one rolls bad, I'm picking another one. Perception.
Yes.
23.
23. You scan it over and you reckon that you could probably clear it in about half an hour.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the time to clear it away as quickly as possible. At least enough just to see if there's anything noteworthy.
Okay. So, I mean, Quinn will give you a hand. Gallio won't.
I figured he wouldn't.
He just kind of stands and watches, but he doesn't comment or anything. He's just like, right, okay. Kind of understanding the reasons why you're doing what you're doing. Yeah. And so you spend 30 minutes clearing the wreckage, and you discover what looks to be the remains of a chair, a book that's been like completely destroyed beyond any kind of recognition, and humanoid bones of some poor soul that clearly got trapped underneath the ceiling as it collapsed, and maybe they were reading or something and just
Can I tell, are they human bones, like humanoid?
Make a medicine check.
Jesus, 27.
So I can confirm that it's not the bones of Jesus Christ. However, you kind of glance over, and you've studied medicine, kind of in your on your path to becoming a cleric, and you know what a skeleton looks like. And you kind of you've studied like you've briefly studied the anatomy of kind of the different kind of common races that you would find.
I've got the basics.
Yeah, this you kind of focus primarily on the skull, and what did you get? Like a 27?
Yeah, 27. I rolled a 19 and it's +8.
So at first you look at it and you're like, this is an elf skull. And then there's a moment where you kind of question yourself and you go, no. This isn't, there's subtle differences. Just like nothing that you can really describe. There's just something ever so slightly otherworldly to its qualities, that make it like doesn't quite fit the mesh. And you think, and you spend some time being like, well, it's similar to an elf but not an elf, and you come to the conclusion that whatever these bones were originally, it was probably Fae in origin, like some form of Fae creature.
Dourrebelle's probably just standing there for 10 minutes holding the skull and staring at it. Fair.
What have you found? Gallio kind of calls from the entrance.
I found the remains of what I first thought was an elf, but appears to be a fae, a creature of fae. I'm not entirely sure what kind of fae creature it is. And you said the book was completely destroyed, right?
Yeah, you can't, like, it's been just smashed beyond all recognition. What little scraps you can gather gives you the impression that it wasn't anything of note.
It was just light reading. Oh, I wish I had Speak with Dead.
It wouldn't work anyway. The lower jaw is nowhere to be found.
Oh, right.
because the creature has to be able to at least imitate speaking to be able to
Right. Okay.
communicate
I
with
will.
you, I believe.
I will. I'll bring the skull to show him. See if he. I'll just be like, "Do you have any understanding of fey creatures?"
Oh, to Gallio.
Yeah.
Is well, not many. But if this was underneath the rubble, I think it would be safe to assume that this could perhaps be someone who knew Thalivar in life.
Yes. I don't know. We could take it with, but I think it would be best to leave the bones undisturbed. Beyond what we've already disturbed.
I think the knowledge that this is here is enough.
Yeah. I will go put the skull back, and if there's nothing else, then I will leave the room.
Okay. So yeah, you leave the room. So that's kind of the first floor taken care of. So you ascend up to the second floor. The second floor was probably the only one that you explored in any level of depth, because this is where the libraries are with the statues of Mistra.
Yes. Gallio, do you know if these libraries are sectioned off by any specific? Are they categorized in a specific way, or have you not had a chance to look?
If they are, then I have not been able to ascertain that. The only other place that you kind of not explored at this point would be the fourth floor, i.e. the roof.
And we can we get to the roof?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can carry on up after the third floor. You went directly to the third floor because that's where the soldiers said they saw the ghost.
Yeah, that's right.
But
okay.
you never ascended further than that.
Well, unless we take the time to comb over all of these books, maybe it would be worth looking at the top floor first.
Yeah, I don't think it'd be very fruitful for us to do that. As I've explained, they have all been written in a cipher that takes weeks to decipher even one passage.
And we'd have to be, yeah. Okay, so we're gonna cautiously make our way up to the fourth floor.
Okay. So you
just because the third floor is the hot spot, so
7, 10. Okay. Okay. So you get up to the fourth floor, and you imagine at one point, this being the top of the tower, you imagine that this would have originally been kind of an enclosed area, but the ceiling has been like completely blown out. And yeah, Gallio will kind of murmur to himself, this is where the plane of beacon stood. And you can kind of see there's a circular kind of hole in the center of the room that, again, is kind of blown out to the northeastern side. And there's lots of gaps. There's kind of there's like piles of rubble that are around. Like there's one in particular that's like tucked up kind of by the spiral staircase that you emerged from. It's sort of it's an enclosed space, so you walk out from the spiral staircase, and then kind of immediately to your left-hand side, there's a pile of rubble there, and kind of just like bits and bobs of detritus. But it seems like not a whole lot has survived on this floor.
And you said that it blew a hole. Did it blow a hole through the floor as well?
Yes. So this kind of, it connects to, you glance down and you can see the scaffold that connects it to the third floor.
Right.
The scaffolds have kind of been put in place to rebuild the kind of tower in its entirety. Essentially, like half of the tower fell away.
Yeah. I just wanted to make sure, like, I was just curious as to what was below it, what room was below it, I guess.
So if you glance down,
the scaffolding,
directly below is the scaffolding and the kind of hallway area that you were in when you first encountered the ghost.
Right.
Oh no, it wasn't where you first encountered the ghost. It's where the pile of rubble was.
I mean, we heard the ghost.
Yeah, where you heard him for the first time.
Yeah.
But it is about a 20-foot drop.
And you said that doesn't look like there's anything here.
There's a pile of rubble in the corner.
I would like to move that shit, please.
Okay, so you start.
Well, I'm gonna carefully move it. Yeah.
You start moving the rubble, and this doesn't take you very long at all, because it seems like whatever else was left has kind of fallen away, and you search through, and you do find more remains. In a much the remains that you found in the servants' quarters were more or less complete, apart from like a few odds and ends that were smashed by the falling ceiling. This skeleton has been completely shattered, essentially. Like, you find bits of you find like a third of a skull, you find like an occipital bone, like bits and bobs, just like bone shards, essentially.
Human, with what pieces there are that are big enough, can I tell if it's humanoid?
Yes, you can. You gather it up. There's enough evidence there to show that whatever it was once humanoid. You do also find kind of tatters of fabric, what appear to be at one point, although they are singed and tarnished, what were once robes.
Would it be reasonable to suggest that these are Thalivar's remains then?
Yeah.
I was
gonna say Gallio will kind of inspect with you, and he'll kind of glance over and look at the bits of fabric and stuff, and say this could indeed have at one point been something that a wizard of his caliber would have worn. Unfortunately, finer fabrics such as ours don't stand the test of time very well, especially when under rubble
and weather. Yeah.
Yes, so it could be assumed that this is and the fact that it is here where the planar beacon was. I couldn't think of it being anyone else.
DM Cam, remind me again. Was it explained to me what happened here at the tower?
You do not know exactly what went wrong. Oh no, you do. Gallio told you. So
yeah, I just couldn't remember.
Yeah. So the snapshot is the planar beacon was a device that Thalivar used to draw in and trap creatures from beyond the plane.
So they could be studied.
So that they could be studied. And essentially what happened was, about 100 years ago, there was an event called the Spell Plague, where eventually all magic turned off, and the creatures that were contained within the planar beacon broke free. And that's basically what happened to the tower, and what Gallio suspects is what happened to Leylon.
It basically blew up, and
then the creatures inside just basically lay waste to Leylon. He's made it quite clear that he's studying Thalivar because he was a very powerful mage, but he has no intention of reinstating the planar beacon.
No, I didn't think so. No, it was more just I was just trying to remember what happened, that why his remains would be here, and it was that it basically blew up in his face, and subsequently was probably attacked as well.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all I wanted. Okay. So we know that he died up here when the planar beacon essentially exploded. We know that he had a servant down on the ground floor. But we don't really know much else. whatever. I think the biggest secrets are going to be whatever he is guarding in that master bedroom.
Potentially, yes. You mentioned that he... What was it that he said to you?
And what do you mean? In what regards?
When you encountered Thalivar's ghost, what did he say to you?
He called me a nightmarish creature. He said that I was out to get him, if I remember right.
I just wish we understood why. Like, why does he linger?
Cam, the lady with the seashell, was it a banshee? Was she a banshee?
She was a banshee, which is slightly different, but
okay.
similar in concept.
Well, that's yeah. Because I was just gonna say it to Gallio. I said he's similar to a banshee. It seems like he has a lingering, either a regret or a desire it's strong enough to keep him here, but
Make another religion check for me.
I'm stuck at those. I have no proficiency. 11.
You think on it. Within 11, I can only give you this. I can't give you any more. But the key difference between her and Thalivar is that the banshee was aware that she was dead.
And Thalivar doesn't seem aware that he's dead?
I just shrugged. You can't see that I shrugged, but nothing of what he's saying, nothing of what he's... Dourrebelle would reason that nothing of what he's said to her explicitly acknowledges the fact that he's dead. He may not be aware.
So he may not be aware that he's dead, even though he's been able to move through the floors and things like that. I suppose you could reason.
If he's lost his sanity, then
he would reason it away. Yeah.
Or if he's, because like Quinn would be like, he said something like, he called you a creature of his nightmares, right?
Yeah, that was the word, creature of his nightmares.
So and then Gallio says, so if he believes that this is a bad dream, then it'd be very easy for him to reason why he can float and phase through walls and all that.
Then the reason he might be taking possession of your body might not necessarily be because it might be because he thinks that it is his body and that he needs to be up and about, and he thinks that he's waking up from the dream.
Yes, possibly that. Possibly he may not even realize that that's what he's doing. I don't know. It's very difficult because my experiences while that's happening to me are brief flashes, as if they are within my own dreams. Moments where I am close to waking, but the possession is suppressing my my consciousness.
Perhaps we just, I mean, ultimately we're gonna have to confront him with this information. We might not destroy him in that process, but his spirit might move on if we can convince him.
If we can do that, and you would know that there has been recorded cases of that happening. Not all ghosts are malignant.
Yeah.
And some have been able to move on. When a ghost is normally like a creature, like a person with some, as you said, like some regret or some desire that's keeping them from entering the ethereal plane.
Yeah.
Like permanently. And going beyond to the outer plane where their soul belongs. Yeah, there's like this possibility of, it could happen. Like, maybe a ghost can perhaps be convinced to pass on.
Perhaps if he understands that there is somebody looking into who is working on his legacy, perhaps he would be content with that.
Then what do you suggest we do?
We'll need to speak with him. We'll have to try and be as non-confrontational as possible, but if it gets too dangerous, then I will do what I can to protect you. I will throw up defenses before I start attacking.
We've already had this conversation.
Yes.
Okay, how do you intend to... Well, he's not here, is he?
No, we have to meet him. We could go to the third floor. We can go down to the third floor and call out to him. I mean, it seems like he won't move beyond either he won't move beyond the second floor, or he just chooses not to after he summoned that creature on us.
It would be reasonable to assume that when he's not active, he is resting in his quarters. He would understand that to be his space. You know, besides the beacon itself.
Yeah. There's no way to get to the master bedroom without taking too much time to move the rubble.
You could either... So there's two ways. You could either clear the rubble, which would take a long time, or you can go around the outside. Because there is a window that leads... Gallio would explain this. I remember crawling through a window.
So it could
accessing
be
it from the scaffolding. So that's one way that you could potentially gain access. Let me just check something. Okay. Alas, I do not have a spell prepared that would enable you to climb the walls.
If we can get into it through the scaffolding, then
it would be kind of... I mean, you can go to the third floor and investigate. You can access the scaffolding from the third floor.
Yeah.
So you can pass through the one of the collapsed rooms onto the scaffolding and then arc your way around. But
because we went part way onto it before turning around, because it was when I heard the voice that I turned around.
Yeah. So that gives you access to another one of the collapsed rooms. The window is kind of... there's like a 5-foot area of wall between the end of the scaffold and the window, but the window is open.
Yeah, but we risk falling how far if we don't make the jump?
It's about a 60-foot drop.
And how far is jumping distance calculated? Or how is jumping distance calculated?
It's based on your strength. It should be on your... If you go to your character sheet...
Yeah.
And you click on strength, I think it gives you the calculations.
Athletics.
No, annoyingly,
strength checks.
Annoyingly, it doesn't. Lifting and carrying, struggle. It doesn't have jumping. That's well annoying. I believe a long jump. Let's have a look. Speed rules. Okay, long jump. If you move at least 10 feet on foot and then make a jump, you can move a number of feet equal to your strength score. So if you did a long jump, you'd be able to reach the window.
Are you sure? I only have
Yep.
+4.
No, that's your bonus. This is equal to your score. So Dourrebelle can do a running long jump of 19 feet.
Jesus.
Yeah. She's strong. She can do a standing long jump of half that. So she can do a standing long jump of 9 feet.
That is like... That seems really insane.
Well, it's because she's got kind of not superhuman strength, but her strength is like pretty much the peak of mortal ability at the moment.
Yeah. I guess it's just shocking to think that little Dourrebelle can jump fucking 19 feet when she gets a running start. Well then, would Quinn be able to, well, I'm assuming Wizard Boy wouldn't be able, well, would he be able to make that jump?
Potentially, but he would refuse.
Quinn's strength is 18, so he'd be able to make the jump as well.
Yeah, I mean, you'd probably have to make some sort of check to make sure you can grab the window and get into it.
It seems like a bit risky for something, especially when Gallio can't come along.
Well, we've got that climbing gear, haven't we?
Do we still have the climbing gear?
You should have. Don't see any reason why you wouldn't have it anymore.
I do have climbing gear.
So you could potentially use that to like secure yourself to the scaffolding to basically make it so that if you fall, you don't plummet 60 feet.
Is there an opening in the walls on the 4th floor that you could see the window from the 4th floor?
There is a window out of the 4th floor. There's like a large, what used to be kind of a large arched window that's kind of smashed outwards. You could potentially descend from the 4th floor into the 3rd floor window.
Would Gallio be comfortable with that?
No.
Dourrebelle's just kind of like,
I'm not doing that. You can do it. How about this? I will remain on the other side and monitor you. We'll be able to communicate through the wall. That's not difficult. Or I can remain on the 4th floor. If there are any signs of disturbance, then I will aid you however I can.
Okay.
The other potentiality is that I draw Thalivar away from you as you investigate his quarters. That's another possibility as well, which could work in our favor. Does mean that I risk being possessed again, which I'm not particularly keen on. But if you're confident that you can remove him from my body, then that is a gamble I'm willing to take. To bring an end to this.
Yes. I feel like he is too powerful for it, but there is a slim chance it might. Well,
no, it'll
actually,
work.
No,
it'll work.
No. I was looking at destroy undead, but no, I don't think it would destroy him. I think
it won't destroy him, but it will turn him.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, I am confident that I could expel him from you if that were the case. If you are willing to do that, then we can rappel down from up here.
Where would you like me to stand watch?
Let's see. If the idea is, if there's an idea to draw him out, I'm assuming the 3rd floor would be the best place to get his attention, because he'll hear it most immediately. If you're right there on the other end of the 3rd floor, by the stairs.
Right, very well. Sorry, where was that again? So you want him on the 4th floor or
3rd floor?
3rd floor. Sorry, I spaced out for a second then.
Because he mentioned potentially drawing him out, and I was just, my idea was what better way than where he probably is the 3rd floor.
Because very well, I will wait on the opposite side of the wall then.
Okay. And after he goes, we're gonna we're gonna use some of the, I'm assuming we can use the pittons to like kind of anchor it.
The climbing gear will
sort
that anyway.
Yeah. So we're gonna rappel ourselves down slowly to the window. And the window is open, right?
Yes.
Before going in, I want to look in and just see if I see anything.
Okay. So you rappel down and you get to the window. As you get to it and you look inside, I need you to make a wisdom saving throw for me.
Oh shit. A wisdom save though.
Mm-hmm.
Whew. 21. Oh wait. Yeah, 21.
21. You look into the corridor and there's a very brief moment where you kind of go, hang on a minute, what am I doing? But then you remember.
Oh shit, okay. Like, what? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you look into the corridor, you can see the other side of the kind of collapsed area. Rubble. So there's the rubble blocking off the pathway, and there is kind of partly obscured by the rubble, there is a small opening that leads to the west, where you assume the bedroom is.
Okay. I will give Quinn the thumbs up, and then I will climb into the window.
Cool. Quinn needs to make a wisdom saving throw.
Oh no. Okay, Quinn. You got a 7.
Okay. So you hear some shuffling as Quinn gets ready to come down. Is Dourrebelle going to make her way into the room as he's doing that?
Yeah, but like she's like holding the other end of the rope to kind of like, so he doesn't like sway around, you know, when he's rappelling down.
Okay. So you hold on to the other end of the rope. You feel him descend.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's kind of this awkward moment where he gets to the bottom, looks around, kind of looks at you, and then starts climbing back up.
Quinn, what are you doing? Quinn!
What are you doing? What are we doing here?
We're going... Get over here! We're going in the window!
And he comes back down to the window and then looks at it and kind of stares at it with this kind of like blank expression, almost like the Limmy, like, I don't get it expression. And he looks at it and then he starts climbing back up again.
Quinn!
What?
We're going... Get down here right now. We're going...
All right. What? I don't get it, but okay. And he comes back down again, and the same process happens. He looks through the window, his expression goes blank, and then he starts climbing up again.
Is he close enough that I could grab him?
Make a... I guess let's make it some sort of contested strength check.
Just straight up strength, okay.
Yeah. Well, it would be athletics.
Okay. So Dourrebelle got a total of 18.
Okay, what's Quinn's strength modifier?
His strength modifier is he's proficient in athletics, so he's a +7.
Okay, so he got a 16.
I beat him by 1.
You beat him by 1.
Or by 2.
So you grab him. You grab him as he starts climbing back upstairs again, and there's like this. it's almost like this aversion to going into the window. You felt it for a split second.
Yeah.
It's not just an aversion. It's just like he genuinely doesn't. It just genuinely doesn't understand why you're going in there, and he's just like, Dourrebelle, what are you doing? We don't need to be in here. Get off me.
No, get down here. We're going in here. You fucking Quinn.
So you like grab him and you just yank him inside.
Put my hand immediately over his mouth, just to like.
He's still like you can feel his body shifting, like he's trying to leave.
I'm just gonna hold him for a minute. I'm just gonna be like. I'm just holding him for a minute and I'm just listening to hear if I hear anything like that's not Gallio or Quinn
make a perception check with disadvantage because you're trying to do two things at once.
Oh, there goes a natural 20. 10. You
don't like, despite Quinn's like shifting and, well, not despite, but almost as a result of Quinn's shifting and struggling against you, you can't make out any other sounds.
Okay. While I've got him here, and now that from this spot, how far away is Gallio from me?
Gallio?
Yeah.
You're not sure because you can't see him.
No, I just wasn't. Okay. Well, he's just gonna have to deal. I'm gonna use aid on Quinn and I at 3rd level.
Okay.
And I was gonna hit Gallio with it as well if he's within 30 feet, but I don't know if he's within 30 feet.
You wouldn't be able to if you can't see him anyway.
Oh shit. Okay. Well then.
You can't. If you can't see someone, you can't target them.
I should have used it before, but okay.
There are some spells that get around that rule, but for the most part, you need to be able to see someone to, or at least be aware of their presence.
Yeah. It doesn't say I have to see them, but yeah, I have to be aware of where they are.
Yeah.
That's fine. I've got at least Quinn and I.
Okay, I'm curious now. You've got me curious.
About what?
About targeting.
Oh, right.
Let's have a look. But of course, finding the wording is difficult. It's because I think it's in the Dungeon Master's Guide somewhere. Wait, no, it's not. I'm dumb.
For what? For sight?
No, for just how spellcasting works in terms of targeting. Casting a spell.
Yeah, because the wording on aid is choose up to 3 targets within range.
A typical spell requires you to pick 1 or more targets to be affected by the spell's magic. To target something, you must have a clear path to it.
Right.
So it can't be behind total cover. So the fact that he's behind a wall means that you can't target him.
That's fine. I've got Quinn and I, which is... Gallio would just have to deal, and I'll just have to do it.
It was more just so we know for future reference.
Yeah. It's all good. Okay. Has Quinn calmed down at all, or is he still acting up? Oh my god. Okay.
And it's like, well, you can probably tell. Like it's not that he's fighting against you. Or, well, he is, but it's almost like it's an automatic thing.
Yeah, like he's not doing it, it's the magic making him do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Would I know if this is a magic that if I like?
I think as well, he's getting quite distressed, and I think it's not because you're restraining him that he's getting distressed. It's more that he's forgotten what he's doing, and the longer that he stays here, the more that he's kind of like, why am I here? What are we doing? What's going like? And it's like properly affecting him.
Can I'm gonna grumble and I'm gonna let him go and let him climb back up.
Okay. Yeah, he just wanders off.
He just climbs back up.
Yeah, he just climbs back up, and you hear kind of footsteps on the floor above you as he just kind of like starts walking.
Oh, for fuck's sake! I'm gonna dig into my bag, into my pocket, and I am going to pull out the sending stone.
Okay.
Because I know he has the other one.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to send a message. I'm going to say, because it's 25 words, isn't it?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. Quinn, it's Dourrebelle. Stay put. I'll be back shortly. But if you see Gallio, stay with him.
There's a moment, and then Quinn responds. You kind of like, you hold onto the stone, and you can almost feel like his voice in your head as if it's coming from the stone.
Yeah.
And he's just like, yeah, all right. No problem. That's fine. I'll stay here. And there's almost like a sense of relief in his voice that he had no idea what he was doing up on the roof, and now he has something to do up there. As simple as that may be. Okay. So you're gonna make your way into the room.
Dourrebelle's just gonna be like, oh my god, fucking magic.
Okay.
As somebody who uses magic, she's gonna grumble about it, and then she will slowly make her way through.
Okay, so you kind of squeeze through the kind of collapsed rubble into the doorway, and you find yourself in a ruined bedchamber. His bed is still there, more or less intact. There's a writing desk on the opposite side of the room, and upon the desk is an uncapped ink pot and an open book.
Is there any signs of Thalivar?
Make a perception check.
Natural 20.
No.
25.
You are
No sign.
confident that there are no ghostly presences here.
I'm going to... It's relieving that there's no ghostly presences, but it does make me wonder where he is. But I'm going to use the opportunity to look around the room.
Okay. Where are you going to look first?
I'm going to go to the desk first,
Okay.
because that seems to be an active spot.
So the book on the writing desk, on examining it, you can see that this book is probably about as old as the ruined and smashed one that you found downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
You examine it, and the book is written in the same handwriting throughout. And you kind of start flicking through, and it appears to be a journal. Let's have a look. I've got there's a handout here, but I'll just read it to you. This journal belonged to the wizard Thalivar and details the studies he conducted inside the tower using the planar beacon. The light of this artifact drew creatures from across the planes and trapped them inside the tower for him to study. The journal reveals how Thalivar's beacon unearthed a powerful magical item named the Ruin Stone. Thalivar devoted himself to acquiring it, but whether he managed to find it or not is a mystery. And then once he reaches that point of talking about the Ruin Stone, the entries stop, and they don't pick up again until over 100 years later. Dates on the entries and the freshness of the ink reveal that the later entries have been made in the last few days. Thalivar describes how he visits a ruined version of his tower in his dreams every night. In this dead world, he is drawn to a pile of rubble in the ruined chamber where his beacon once lay. Each time he draws close to the rubble, a terrible dread holds him back. Thalivar wishes that his fairy servant Soapwort were here to assure him that he is dreaming, but the fairy never turns up. Thalivar prays that these nightmares will end soon, so that he may resume his studies in peace.
So it is as we suspected. He is aware that... So the journals are dated in real time, right?
That is the one thing, as I was reading through this, that I think is a bit of an inaccuracy.
Okay.
They are not dated in real time, even though that is what the adventure says. Let's retcon that to say that it's very clear that there is a large gap in time due to the freshness of the ink.
Yeah, I would gather from the ink alone, because I imagine the original pages are a bit faded. From
there's very
time,
very very old and faded pages, and then suddenly there's fresh ink.
Yeah, because I'd be very shocked if he was like, in my dreams it is this year and this date.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've been thrust forward into the year 2020, and I shall write my entries as if that is the case, even though I think this is a nightmare and it's not the case.
If only.
Oh, I know,
okay,
right?
Yeah.
Can I wake up and be in a ruined tower? In the town of Leyland.
Is there anything else of note around the desk or in the desk?
You glance around, you kind of rummage through the desk. This appears to be the only thing of importance here.
I'm gonna leave the journal open on the page that it was last open on, in case I leave the room and he pokes up and don't want to arouse. I guess trying to minimize arousing suspicion if I'm not here.
Okay.
I guess I'm gonna look around the bed. I mean, as for a ghost, he's sort of living in here, so I'm just curious if there's anything noteworthy besides the journal around.
No. You kind of turn the room around a little bit. A lot of the stuff has been ruined by the collapse.
Yeah.
It's kind of impressive that the amount of stuff in this room that survived has survived, but it's still kind of the bare essentials. Anything that was maybe decorative or additional in here has either worn away over time or is just gone.
Okay. So it confirms our suspicions that he doesn't think that he's dead. I guess the next course of action is to convince him that is the case. Dourrebelle takes a moment to think back, and as reticent as she is to do, she's gonna leave, and I think she's gonna go and get the skull of the fairy.
Okay. So as you because you'll have to pass by Gallio.
Well, I wasn't sure if anything was going to happen in the interim, and I've got to go get Quinn as well.
So you go back up to the 4th floor. Quinn is there, kind of like, hey, what were you doing?
I was exploring the wizard's room while he wasn't present.
Did you find anything?
Yes, I found his journal, which confirms our suspicions. What? That he doesn't believe that he's dead. He thinks that it is all a dream. We need to, in order to help him pass on, we need to convince him. Right.
Okay. And to save you repeating yourself, you go down to Gallio and you repeat this information to him. He goes,
it'll basically be like, yeah, it's as we suspected. He thinks he's in a dream.
Well then, all that remains now then is to work out how we're going to have an audience with this ghost.
I had an idea to get the Fey skull, but I am a little hesitant that using or showing it to him might have an adverse reaction. If he's seeing me as a haunted specter, he might see me holding the skull as me essentially holding her head, and might take that as a, he might react violently to that. But at
the same time,
yeah,
mad as he is, Thalivar is a scientist or a wizard. Maybe perhaps evidence. Go on.
Yeah. No, I was just gonna say, in his dreams, he writes in his journal that in his dreams that he is drawn to the pile of rubble upstairs, which confirms that that is his dead body.
He's drawn to his own body
He's drawn to his body, but he is afraid to see what's there. Because
perhaps he's afraid to discover his own mortality. Maybe there is a part of him that is aware, and he is suppressing it.
Yeah.
Or in denial.
Yes. I was gonna say we go get the skull and I guess see about finding a way to summon his presence forward. He wasn't he wasn't anywhere near the room when I went in.
I didn't hear anything, so I assumed as much.
Yeah.
How do you suggest we go about summoning him?
That's the hard part. When I encountered him, Quinn and I we were moving around on the scaffolding, and I could hear him speaking. And when I called out to him, he stopped. And I'm assuming that's when he became me calling out, he became aware of us. But Bar just shouting out, I'm not entirely sure how to get his attention, unless we wait until evening with you here. When he presumably wakes.
Do you have any magics that may do something of that regard, or you being
call him out?
You being a cleric, I only assume.
Just gonna look at my spells really quick.
Because it's very possible that following your initial encounter, he's gone into hiding. It might.
I do have Speak with Dead.
Oh, you do? Okay.
I do. But that's okay because none of the corpses have mouths, anyways.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at my spells list. I don't... I don't...
Well, if never mind. If you don't, then you don't. But we need something. We need some sort of approach to this.
Yeah.
Make another religion check for me. These have been going so well for you so far.
15.
15. You could hold a seance. It's kind of one of those, it's one of those things where it's like, oh, I heard people talking about this and it sounded really daft at the time, but it is something that people have done in the past to commune with the dead. is to quite literally hold a seance.
I mean, it's not unlike something like divination, I guess, but
yeah, it's just a more primitive, like, there's no magic involved. It's just kind of everyone join hands and light a candle and speak with the dead. If there are any spirits in this place. And, you know, you did learn a little, you know, you talked about it with, because, like, when you were going through as an acolyte, there were kind of childish talks of, like, oh, we could do a seance and we could try and communicate with the dead, that got your friends in a lot of trouble. It's one of those things where you just thought it was a stupid joke, but the adults took it very seriously. Like, don't do that.
Yeah, I suppose Dourrebelle sits there and she goes, I have a spell, or I know a spell that allows me to speak with the dead, but it wouldn't work because we're missing parts, but we could do a ritual similar in nature to see if that rustles him from
Rustles
his
any
sleep.
spirit jimmies.
Yeah, I mean it's as simple as burning incense, but we could see if something as simple as that gets him out.
You would need to so in your knowledge, you would need to kind of go to the closest seat of spectral energy possible, which
is the room.
It's more like it's either going to be the room or it's going to be where he died. So up where the beacon was.
The fourth floor would be easier because
that's the place where he's drawn to as well.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm going to suggest that. I'll be like, we could go upstairs and hold a seance.
Okay.
It feels very odd to say, but we could have a seance.
Yeah, Quinn is just like, oh, what? And then there's a moment where he says that, and then he stops himself, and he's just like, you know what, whatever, fine. And he kind of scratches one of his bandaged arms.
I don't, because I have a spell focus. Would that be all right?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. So we're gonna go up and have a
I want you to describe to me how you set this up. Gallio will do whatever you ask him to within reason. As will Quinn. Quinn will do whatever you ask him to without reason.
Did Gallio have many candles? Well, like, does he have candles in his room?
He's got. I have spellcasting components, and I do work by candlelight during the night.
Do you want to grab your candles and maybe if you have any incense?
Very well. I don't have much, but yeah. So okay. So you've got some you've got like
a couple of candles.
Yeah, you've got four candles. I didn't bring and he brings like 4 candles. No, and a small block of incense.
It's fine. I don't think we'll need a lot.
Go on then. What else? What else are you doing?
Dourrebelle probably is like, wow, why am I doing this? She's gonna have her holy symbol in hand because that's just that's second nature to her. Do I have any other extra bits that would make things interesting? Wait, hold on a second. Shit, I have a scroll of command. Where did I get that?
I think you picked that up a while ago.
I'm gonna put I got a bunch of spinels as well. I'm gonna arrange them in like a small circle. And I'm gonna have the candles that are sort of in a circle as well.
Okay.
Maybe like near the body, but like near where the remains are.
Yeah.
I'm assuming we'll like, because it was quite early when we met up.
Mm-hmm.
Could we
it was like the morning.
Maybe could we say maybe like we're waiting. Well, I suppose the idea is you wait until it's dark to do a seance, but can we wait until it's like the sun is setting?
Yeah, you can. I mean, you could even say like we'll go away and we'll reconvene in the evening.
Yeah. Okay.
So you guys do that.
And then light all the candles. I put the incense in the middle as well, and I light the incense, kind of wave it around so that it's kind of up in the air.
Okay.
Kind of fills the space as much as it can with a space that has no roof or walls. And he created the planar beacon, right?
He did, yeah.
Dourrebelle, she's gonna do this with her back turned to the others because she feels really embarrassed by this whole endeavor. But she's putting her heart into it, and she's basically she thinks about what wizards are like, especially with Gallio, and she's gonna be like, the great wizard Thalivar, we humbly request your knowledge and presence. We are but lowly creatures in your presence. And she kind of maybe like has her head down a little, like she's doing like a bow, with her arms out, like please grace us with your presence sort of thing, but is kind of like ready for something to like if a battle breaks out, but she's kind of got her arms up and is trying to beseech him and stroke his ego a little bit.
Gallio is like doing his best to take this seriously, so he's kind of like head down, eyes closed, kind of like he's sat like cross-legged on the floor. His fingers are like laddered, so he's like deeply concentrating, being like, okay, you know, he thinks it's daft, but he's going with it. Quinn, meanwhile, is like, what the fuck? Like, just like looking at you, looking at Gallio. He's got like a massive grin on his face of just like, what are you doing? This is ridiculous.
Quinn, shut up.
So, make a performance check. Let's see how well you conduct this seance.
Oh, it's a 14.
14. Okay.
It's better than I expected.
I
mean, she's trying.
Yeah. And it's good, like, with that check, she's like properly like putting her heart into it. There's a couple of moments of Quinn's right, what am I doing, sort of thing. And maybe thinking about the people in the past being like, don't do this is bad shit if you do this. But you do, and then Dourrebelle completes the ritual, which takes about 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And you open your eyes, and at first it doesn't seem like anything's going on. And you turn to look at the kind of incense that's like smoldering and burning in like a small brass kind of bowl that Gallio has, and the 4 candles kind of dotted around you. And then you hear a gentle wind, and the area around you, in kind of like this dim evening light, suddenly kind of get darker. Like the light level drops, and the burning incense goes out, and you can kind of see the kind of white smoke kind of out from the block of incense, which then kind of builds and collects kind of in the center of all of you, and starts to coalesce together and form into the body of Thalivar. Like the same kind of like crazy hairdo, old man face, kind of like wearing the same robes, and he kind of like apparates in amongst all this coalescence of smoke. All 4 of the candles go out like immediately as soon as his visage is present, and he immediately kind of looks shocked, like, what is this? So just to kind of out of game explain, the performance check was basically it was going to work regardless, right? My performance check was to see how pliant he is upon arrival. Like, if you did a really bad performance check, he'd immediately be hostile.
Oh, right, okay.
So, but you did enough. A 14 is enough for him to be confused, but not aggressive. And he kind of glances around and goes, "You creature of my nightmares! You've called me to sleep again. Why?"
I look at Gallio.
Gallio.
Does he even see Gallio?
Gallio kind of like opens his eyes and looks. No, he's wholly focused on you at the moment as the kind of leader of the ritual. But Gallio is there looking up, and you can kind of see his face has gone like white as a sheet.
Like he's shocked that Thalivar's here. I've still got my arms up, and I'm trying to be in a sort of, I guess, low pose, like trying to be non-threatening.
Okay.
And I'm just saying, I am sorry to disturb you. I was seeking audience with you. I mean no harm.
Okay. I'm gonna say that negotiations haven't quite opened yet. But he looks confused, and then that kind of shifts a little bit into like distrust and anger. And he just says, like, "Why have you called me to this wretched place? You who tried to kill me! Ruin my entire life's work!"
Oh my god. That was never my intention, and I only attacked out of I'm gonna try and appease him and be like, I attacked you out of ignorance, and the fault lies with me.
Okay.
I'm trying to make amends.
So the way that I'm going to work this is you're going to need to make a number of checks. We're basically going to do a skill challenge. So you'll need to use different skills, but you can also make use of Gallio and Quinn to help you with this. But the idea is you need to get a number of successes before you get a number of failures, in order to convince this. So remember the evidence that you've built up, and kind of and think about the people that you're with and what they can do to help you out and their skills. But you can't use the same skill twice. So in this case, with what you've done now, I need you to make a persuasion check for me.
Okay. 11.
Okay. Thalivar just like scowls and says, "I've been tricked by your kind before, monster." Why won't you leave me? Why am I constantly cursed by this vision of ruin and devastation?
I want to ask Gallio for help, but I'm not sure.
Do it then, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I want his help.
Okay, but how is he going to help you?
I want him to. So I made a persuasion check, didn't I? I want him. I want him to make. I want him to explain. I essentially want him to make a history check, but I want him to explain.
Don't talk about it in game terms. You tell me what you want him to do, and I will pass it for you.
Okay.
Because I think you're tripping over that. That's what's making it hard. So don't worry about that. Tell me what you want him to do.
I want him to explain to Thalivar what he sees isn't a nightmare.
Okay.
I want him to like wizard to wizard kind of. Yeah.
Okay. Gallio kind of like straightens himself up and says, Thalivar, please. And the creature kind of like whirls around. He's like, oh, yeah. You. Yes, I'm. You. I am. My name is Gallio Elibro. I too am a wizard. Please understand. You have to understand this is not a dream. Unfortunately, you have passed on. You have been dead for over 100 years, and I am gravely disappointed that that is the case. For I wish that I could take the time to learn from you and understand this great creation that you have laid that you had built, the planar beacon. All I have is your research and the remains of this place to go on, to understand what you achieved here. I wish that you could be with us to help, but sadly you are not. You are in a state between the living and the dead, and you must acknowledge that, and you must move on, or there can be no progress. So I know I said different checks, but I think this is, you're trying to persuade him that he's dead. So I think it's going to be persuasion checks. So Gallio will make one, and I'm going to give him. Have you got any evidence to show him?
That he. What evidence that like he's...
Evidence that he's dead.
I will. Well, we're right next to his dead body, so I'm gonna gesture down to the remains.
Okay.
That he's so averse to approaching.
Cool. Okay. That gave him advantage on the roll, as you kind of pull back the rubble and you reveal the body. And Gallio says, in this form that you have taken, you whether you're aware of it or not, you take control of my body, and we come to this exact point, and you look at this exact place. This is where you lie, and we would see to it that you are properly buried and given the correct rites. We come to this point, and you are always terrified and averted from this point. It's only until recently that I've understood why. And you can see like Gallio is kind of like, he's not Gallio, Thalivar has got this like look of abject horror on his face as he's processing this information.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of see him shift slightly, and he's just like, no, it can't be. It can't be. This is a vision. This is a dream. But you can tell that his stance has shifted slightly. He can't argue with the fact that he's looking at his own corpse.
Mm-hmm.
So how would you like to follow up with that?
I am going to gently pull out the skull of his Fae friend and kind of hold it out,
mm-hmm.
and be like, I am to understand that this is what remains of your ever faithful Fae servant. She was buried beneath the rubble on the ground floor. I only know it was Fae based on my... I only know that it's Fae based on your own journal.
He kind of I'm ditching the mechanic now. It was a good idea in the moment, but you
can make me roll checks if you want, but
if you fail, like you're giving him correct information. How do you fail giving somebody factual information? I suppose there is an element of a persuasion check, but you've told him that you know who this person is, so he kind of like reaches up and takes the kind of like places both of his hands like underneath kind of the cheekbones of the skull, and you kind of look at him and his countenance shifts from that of kind of confusion, horror and anger, and kind of melts into this deep sorrow, and he just kind of says, "Soapwort." I've always been lost without them.
I am sure they are lost without you now, as you are still here.
What happened?
You were researching something. What was it called? The rune?
The planar beacon, and in his journal he mentions the runes, the ruin stone.
You mentioned something called the ruin stone, and all we understand is that there was a day where magic ceased to work, and the bindings on the astral creatures failed, and in the wake there was a massive explosion, and whatever creatures you had assailed you.
Well, you can tell from the injuries he died in the explosion.
Okay, sorry, yeah. It exploded and nearly took the whole tower down.
He closes his eyes and thinks for a moment, and kind of while his eyes are shut, he kind of starts muttering and mumbling. Is something along the lines of, "I remember that day. I remember studying the beacon, studying the creatures within. I was checking the ruin stone. I was questioning them, searching for some evidence, some clue as to how I could locate it." And his expression kind of shifts, and his head moves a little, and him and Gallio kind of exchange a glance. And then he shifts back and he says, "And then it happened. It is as you say, the beacon ceased to function. I hurried and was looking for an answer. I had fail-safes and redundancies in place in case such a thing happened and the creatures contained within were to be released, because that absolutely could not happen. And that was when all was white, and I woke up here. I thought I was dreaming."
I'm sorry.
Gallio says, I will continue your work. Or at least work diligently to understand your discoveries and make this right, Thalivar. While what happened brought ruin to Leylon, your work is still regarded as one of the most erudite in the Sword Coast, perhaps even all of Faerun. Thalivar kind of like looks at you, Dourrebelle.
Mm-hmm.
It looks at Gallio. Just ignores Quinn.
Well, I imagine Quinn's just like, I'm just not going to say anything.
Yeah, Quinn
because,
is.
Yeah.
Because he's like, if he doesn't say any, if he says something, he's gonna just tell the ghost to fuck off, and that's not gonna be conducive to any sort of help. So he's decided to stay silent against his better judgment. Okay. He closes his eyes again. He's still kind of holding on to Soapwort's skull, and then he kind of gently lowers it back into your hands. Says, will you bury them next to me?
Of course.
Well, perhaps I will find a better dream elsewhere.
I hope you reunite.
He doesn't say anything further. He just closes his eyes again, and you see kind of like going from his feet as he floats kind of a few feet above you. His form kind of starts to disapparate back into kind of coils of smoke and reforms into that as his body dissipates. The 4 candles that surround the seance kind of flick back on.
Right.
The light level of the evening returns back to where it once was, and all traces of Thalivar are gone.
Well, that went about as well as I could have hoped.
Yes. I feel like a weight has been lifted from my shoulders. Quinn is just like, can we go now?
Yes.
I really need a drink.
You can go on ahead, Quinn. I'm going to bury the remains now.
Okay, he just kind of like waves his arm and he's just out. He's gonzo.
That's fine. I'm going to gather up the remains of
I mean, he's gonna
Thalivar as best as I can.
Yeah, he says that he's gonna go find Ricky and go get a drink.
Oh, okay. Yeah. As she sort of starts gathering up the remains and stuff, she's gonna say, would you be opposed if I, because there was like an area outside the tower, wasn't there?
Yes. There's like a small area that kind of juts out.
Would you have any objections to me burying them there on the side so that they're still near the tower?
No, not at all. In fact, I would be happy for you to do so. I think it's right that he's buried here.
Yeah, that's how I felt. Thank you for your assistance in all of that.
No, thank you. Without your assistance, this would have carried on ad infinitum, and I would have either died of exhaustion, or who knows what other grisly fate would await me or Yoram or the soldiers. I can now continue with my work, hopefully unmolested by the forces of the beyond, and make some actual progress. So you have been of remarkable help, Dourrebelle, and you have my unending gratitude.
Of course, it's what I do.
With that in mind, however, I am now a day delayed. If I can leave the task of respectfully interring interring Thalivar and his servants' remains, I need to get back to work.
Yes, by all means. I'll hand him his candles and incense back and be like,
okay.
And I figured that he was just going to go straight back to work.
Yeah. So the two of you head back downstairs, and he's just like, "Can you let Yoram know so they can resume their duties?"
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So Gallio returns to his room. You head outside to kind of what was once, you assume, kind of another part of the tower, just like an entrance, almost like portico sort of thing, made of stone. It's not that anymore. It's just a mess. So you take some time to kind of clear up a bit of the ground, and you inter the remains. You do. I don't think you have it prepared, but you do have access to a spell called Ceremony. And
I don't have it prepared.
No, but I'm just letting you know that it is a thing that you can do. So maybe after you've prepared it, you can cast Ceremony, and it, I believe, for a certain period of time, it stops remains from becoming undead.
Oh, okay.
And it's kind of Ceremony is more of a role playing spell. But you can always do that. Maybe, if you took a rest and then come back tomorrow, you could do that.
Yeah, I was gonna say if I could find two pieces of stone that are sort of, they're a bit temporary, but kind of headstone shaped.
Yeah, that wouldn't be hard. We're in amongst the rubble of this tower. That would not be difficult to do.
Yeah, just to sort of indicate, and then and then I offer a little prayer to Moradin, and I'm like, okay, I'll come back and do a ceremony tomorrow.
So you go, you have a rest.
Well, I tell the guards not to fucking disturb the graves, but I tell them it's all good.
Mm-hmm. Quinn is drinking on his own. He's like annoyed that Ricky is far too interested in hanging out with his new lizard folk friends to spend time with him, even though they barely know each other. I think he just wanted some time with somebody that wasn't connected to the tower incident. He's like, was it Cilia? Is it Cilia Scale Sweep?
I think so, yeah.
The girl with the harmonica. Where's she? I just need. It fucked me up, man.
I believe it. I'm sorry you had to deal with that. I'm sorry you had to go through that.
I'll be fine. I just need to drink myself silly tonight, and then I'll wake up and hopefully not remember any of it.
Well, you'll certainly wake up in better spirits.
So you do that. You take a long rest. You'll need to prepare the ceremony spell.
Manage spells.
Just bear that in mind for next time.
Okay.
Then again, some time will have passed between now and the next one anyway, so we don't have to worry about it too much. We're kind of skipping days at this point.
Yeah.
So you return to the grave and you cast Ceremony. Where are we?
I am sure to let Quinn know that he...
Oh. Emily?
I make a point of being like, don't come with me, because you're going to interrupt me.
Don't worry, I won't. Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, there was just a bit of weirdness there. Okay, so you cast Ceremony. It's a ritual spell, so you kind of take some time, gather your things, get your holy symbol ready, and you conduct the ritual. Gallio does actually turn up when you do this. He kind of notices that you've arrived. Gallio's there, and Yoram isn't. He's present at the tower, but he doesn't arrive. But a couple of the guards show up as well. Whether they've been strong-armed by Gallio or not, you're not sure. So there's a small kind of congregation of about 5 or 6 people. And as you complete the spell, the ritual is complete. The burial site is protected from evil magic for the next 7 days, guaranteed. Like, it's an extremely powerful charm that can only be broken by the most powerful magic. So, at least for 7 days, you're not going to be seeing Thalivar again.
I mean, I don't think we will see him again.
No, but like this is more kind of protection from outside forces.
Yeah.
But as you complete the ritual and you have the 2 little headstones, we could say that the headstones that you've got are like old pieces of wall. So there's like the kind of rubble bit, and then there's a kind of a straight edge to it, or like a flat face to it. And as you complete the ritual, you can kind of see the names Thalivar and Soapwort kind of get inscribed into the 2 headstones in kind of like this kind of radiant light energy that then fades away to reveal these 2 inscriptions, confirming that this is their resting place for now and forevermore. And you kind of have a quick glance around. You counted 6 people before, but now you count 7. And as you glance up, you can see kind of standing in the back of this kind of row of people, the guards and Gallio, that same woman that you saw when you first arrived at this place.
The elf woman.
Not an elf, human.
Or human. Oh, yeah, sorry.
Kind of a dark-skinned woman wearing armor and a sword. And she's looking at the graves. She looks up at you and kind of catches your eye directly. And then she raises her sword in like a form of salute. Puts it away. And then just turns and leaves. And kind of leaves into nothingness.
So she like walks and fades away.
Yeah.
Dourrebelle kind of gives a little sigh, but she feels assured in that they weren't hostile, that it was like sort of a thank you gesture, and that I don't know if they had moved on themselves, but that they're not going to cause trouble. Does that make sense?
Yeah, good. Okay. And I think kind of on that scene, that's where we'll finish up for tonight. You kind of on the closing shot of this mysterious woman walking off into the distance and vanishing. That's where we fade out. Yeah. Aww. You did it. Dourrebelle managed a peaceful solution.
Yeah, man.
Good times.
Oh my god, I can wed people.
Yeah, you can.
Shit. For a level 1 spell, the fact that like it can't be undone except for a wish spell is pretty absurd.
Yeah, I mean it is only for 7 days, but yeah, it's pretty.
For those 7 days, like literally nothing can do
it. It's a pretty strong enchantment. Yeah, it's really good. But anyway, how was that?
It was good. I'm sorry if my heat brain kind of ended up making me repeat myself.
No, it's fine. And I felt that I'm kind of getting into, now that we've been doing this for a while, I've always been worried about being too kind of heavy-handed with guiding you as a DM. There's always that concern about railroading and stuff, but I think when it comes to a one-on-one game, you need to be prepared to be a bit more kind of, I'm essentially, you don't have a party to like soundboard ideas off of.
Yeah.
So while I'm not going to just straight up give you the answers to everything, I think for the sake of like pacing and to stop you from getting kind of lost and frustrated, because you don't have other people to discuss things with, I think it makes sense in a one-on-one setting for the DM to be a little bit more kind of, maybe you could try this.
Yeah.
And all that kind of stuff. So, and trying to be a bit less like, because like when we were doing the seance with Thalivar, and originally I was going to make it be like a skill challenge and be like, oh, if you fail too much, then he's going to become hostile. But then it was like, you've shown him his corpse, you've shown him Soapwort's corpse, you know stuff about the journal. He like, what else can you do? So I just decided, nah, it's better narratively for it to just work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
No, I had fun. I had a good time.
good. So did I. It was a nice nice little session. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we will finish up there then. Thank you all so very much for joining us for this week's session of Stormlord's Wrath. I certainly hope that you will join us for the next session. We stream every week on Twitch. We stream on Tuesdays, Stormlord's Wrath. This session was postponed until Thursday, but we normally play on Tuesday evenings at 7:30 GMT. Well, British summertime, I think it is at the moment. And we do like a half-hour pre-show before that, and then the VODs go up on YouTube the following Friday. So in this case, for those of you watching on Twitch, it'll be up tomorrow. If there's bits that you missed or you want to catch up or just watch it again, I don't know, it would be great. Failing that, feel free to follow, feel free to subscribe on YouTube, follow the pair of us on Twitter, and I hope that we will see you again soon. Goodbye.
Yeah, later.